I'd like to talk briefly about networks and subnets, because these are very important to the networking world. What is the internet? Many people, everyone knows what the internet is. Virtually everyone has used it. But what is it exactly? The internet is a network of networks. If you look at this diagram here, you'll notice 4 networks here with an internet service provider in the connecting each of these networks. Each of these represents an edge for the network, which has a link to the ISP. As long as this link is active, then Adobe can talk to the ISP, and as long as these other links are active, then Adobe can also talk to Microsoft, eBay, and Unitech. Inside each of these networks within the internet is its own network, like I mentioned. A network is an independent system. What that means is that if the network loses connectivity, for example, if this link between the edge router and the ISP goes down, the network can still function independently. This server farm here are several servers, which I mentioned before. These are workstations, these 3, and these are routers, and these are switches. If this link goes down, all these devices can still access the servers, can still access the switches and routers, and the computers can access each other. The losing of connection from one independent system to another will not make all the connections go bad. And I would like to take this network into a little more detail even, and point out that within this one large network, there are many subnetworks. Each of the yellow circles here represents one subnetwork. When we configure a network, a large network like this, we have to set our IP addresses such that they comply with these subnetting rules. These subnetting rules are beyond the scope of this presentation, unfortunately. But I will just tell you that there is strict rules. If you use one value, you're required to use a limited set of other values, and if you use a value outside of that limit, then it does not function correctly. So in this diagram here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 subnets here. 8 subnets are required. Each subnet function is actually technically also a network in itself, which means it can function independently of other subnets. Basically, the only thing that would bring this entire network down and lose all communication would be a power failure. I'd like to talk a little bit about switches on a subnet. You'll typically find one or more switch on each subnet, and that switch will allow many devices to be connected to that one subnet. For example, right here, if we had one internet connection at the top, this one switch could allow all 4 devices, all 4 computers, to share that one internet connection. I'd like to do a quick summary of networks and subnets. A network is a separate independent system which is typically owned by a single entity such as Microsoft or Unitech. A subnet is also an independent network that is part of a larger network. All subnets are also designed, owned, and controlled by the single entity. Devices must be on the same subnet to communicate properly unless a router is used to send data to another subnet. Quick summary of all the concepts we've covered. Networks are used to facilitate communication through the intelligent transfer of data, voice, and video across distances. A small network can include only a wireless router, an internet connection, and some computers. A larger network can have thousands of computers, hundreds of routers and switches, and several internet connections. Now I'd like to do a quick Funtime networking activity. Here we have an internet connection, the cloud, and 3 blank locations, and we have 3 devices here. We have a router and 2 computers. What we need to do is get this network set up so that these 2 computers can share that one internet connection. Who would like to go first? Allie, what device do you think goes in the middle?
I think that the router goes in the middle.
You think the router? Allie says she thinks the router goes in the middle. Let's see if she's right. All right, she got it. Give her a hand, everyone. Dean, what device do you think would go here?
One of the workstation.
I think you're probably right. Let's see about that. Yeah, all right. And what device would go last?
You have your last workstation. That's the only thing left on
I think
there.
you're probably right. All right, and we now have a successful internet connection. These 2 computers can talk to each other and can access the internet services as they wish. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I invite you to ask any questions or comments now, or email them to me at this my email address or my phone number. Thank you very much.
Thank you.